I'm so excited to be here. Really, really appreciate it. Just to mention quickly that the slides might look awkward. Some part of the slides might look awkward because it was supposed to be presented via Canva, right? So Google Slides might just mess up some areas. Just please do bear with me. All right. So thank you so much for joining this conversation. And I know that you've had some different conversations or different lectures, as Founder City will put it, right? And you've learned a couple of things about starting and launching a business, right? Or growing, your startup. I just want to say this, right? All you know is all you've learned. I think we're going to start with that. All you know is all you've learned. All you know is all you've learned. And all you've learned is not all there is to know, right? All you know is all you've learned. And all you've learned is not all there is to know, right? This is very, very important. All you know is all you've learned. And all you've learned, it's not all there is to know. So there's so much more to know. There's so much more to know. All right. And what you're going to learn in this conversation is not going to change you. It's not going to affect the way you run your startup or your business. It's not going to change that. Right. So what you do with what you know, it's very important. What you do with what you know, that's what's going to change you. So if you don't do anything after this conversation, you're not going to, get the results. Right. I was seeing a film and this lady was complaining and everything, with her dad, because her dad was bankrolling, her business, right? And then her dad said, I've put millions of money into this company, right? And the lady now said, or the daughter said, Dad, you're seeing my efforts. And he said, effort is nothing. Results is everything. Effort is nothing. Results is everything. And this is true. It's a very hard thing to say, but it's the truth, right? It's the truth. All right. So efforts, the world doesn't reward efforts. Life doesn't reward effort. I tried to succeed. Life doesn't reward that. I succeeded, right? And that's what life rewards. Success, results. So you must show workings, you must show results. Okay, nobody rewards you. I mean, if you work in sales, you will know that nobody rewards you for, oh, I almost closed that customer. No. You're rewarded for how many customers you were able to close. Right? So all of the things you're going to learn, maybe if there's another facilitator after my session, it is what you do. If you guys don't do anything with all of this information, right, you're not going to get results. All right, so behavior is power. Knowledge is not power. We were taught that in school. Oh, knowledge is power, yeah, but no, behavior is power. All right, behavior is power. It is what you behaving according to what you know that makes you powerful. Because if knowledge is power, there should be no poor person. Right? I mean, in this age where knowledge has been democratized, what you're even learning today, do you know that you could literally ask ChatGPT and it's going to even probably pull up a better slide than we have today? Google will show you better, information than we have today. YouTube will show you better information than we have today. All right, it's very important. So what then sets you apart? It's not knowledge. So in this day and time, if you've got a smartphone or a smart device, you can access knowledge anywhere in the world. I'm sure that most of us are dialing from different parts of the world, so you can access knowledge anywhere in the world. So knowledge is not power. Behavior is power. The difference between people who have succeeded and those who haven't, it used to be information, right? It used to be information maybe 20 years ago. But now it's no longer information, it's execution. The difference between a successful entrepreneur And an unsuccessful entrepreneur is execution, not information. Execution. There are many startup schools, free execution. I'm spending more time to talk about this because I think it's even more important than this conversation that we're having, right? Execution. So if you don't execute, now there is two layers to that. There is execution, which is just doing. There is the right execution, doing according to right information. And this is why, programs or, companies like Found Her City exist, to provide the right information to drive right execution. But here's the thing, even with the right information, if you don't execute, the person with the wrong information that executes will learn more, would have made more progress than yourself, right? Would have made more progress than yourself. Because when they execute wrongly, they take the lessons, they take that feedback, they come back to check. There is nothing to learn with not doing. So if you just don't do anything, you don't learn anything. And that's why people who have done something and failed at it, they probably learned more than people who have done nothing. All right. So we're going to be looking at business corporate ethics, which is in terms of structuring your business. I've spent the last decade, helping entrepreneurs structure their businesses, put the right systems, put the right process, and all of those things. All right. So, but we're going to be looking at some things around, soft skills, right? Hard skills are very important. Technical skills, being able to know how to code, write Figma boards, build the product. But here's the thing, right? You can build the product and you're not able to sell the product. Engineers are important. Product managers are important. Product designers are important. But business operations people are important. A marketer is important. A salesperson is important. An operations person is important. Because these are some of the skills that gets you. All right. So, and that's why I was telling someone, someone told me a certain story. I mean, true life story here, got into a job, right? And he wasn't getting the promotion. He was damn good. He was a developer, wasn't getting the promotion. Right. And someone just joins the team and boom, the person is already leading, becoming his manager. And he's wondering, I've been in this company for a long time. Why am I not being promoted? Right. And then he went to ask that person and he said, well, you can code. I can manage you to code. I know how to get people like you to code, right? I know how to communicate. I've got emotional intelligence, right? I know how to manage people, to galvanize resources to get results. So the soft skill part helps you, right? Helps you to get the word out. So when you're trying to reach out to customer, if you can't sell, then you can't win. And in selling, you need to know how to communicate. You need to know how to, write code emails and all of things like that. So attention to detail, emotional intelligence, time management, all of these things are, the skills that are very important. Technical skills are great, but what helps you grow and build a company? They are soft skills. And when you think about it, life, you can't succeed in life without these soft skills. I'm not even talking about building a company or working in a company. You can't succeed in life with this. If you can't communicate, if I can't communicate, I won't be in this class. I wouldn't even be invited. I wouldn't be here, right? So you must learn how to do that. And so it gets to the point where, you have to learn how to interact with people. You must learn how to, connect with people. And this is very important. And that's why we're looking at, some of the soft skills that are very essential, right? I can go on when people send me, I say, you know what, I'm hiring for this role, right? I want you to shoot a shot at me. Shoot a shot why you should be hired. I see very funny responses. And these are supposedly students who have gone through the educational system, right? Someone will just write forwarded CV, my CV. Thanks. Like, what is that? What is that? I think someone put something on Twitter. I remember a friend of mine, he said that I never knew. So I think the truth was that Nigerians never ceases to amaze me. I never knew that someone could write an entire body of an email in the subject line. Imagine writing an entire body of an email in the subject line. And she was like, I've never seen this before. I never knew it was possible to do that. Right? I never knew it was possible to do that. So, and these are poor email etiquettes, right? So there are some certain things that will not get you to where the customers are. What will get you to the customers is not building an incredibly good product. It's being able to connect with them. And this is very important. All right. So we're just going to move very fast. I've laid some backgrounds. So here's something we think, you should know, right? When you combine hard skills plus soft skills, right, you get entrepreneurial success. So beyond the knowing how to design, to code, and all of such things, it's also important to combine it, right? Because even in the building the products, and that's why you have product managers, you must be able to collaborate, communicate, manage emotions, be emotionally intelligent, time management, all of those things. You must know how to connect with other people, even in the technical aspect. So we can't run away from these soft skills. They're very important. All right. So we're going to be looking at understanding the basics of business corporate ethics. Apologies for the, there's an error there. So there's an R missing. So soft skills for certain entrepreneurs, right? And then, of course, we're going to look at some practicals and resources, right? So we just move fast. So as you look forward to starting and scaling your business, you need to have the right corporate business ethics alongside your business idea to guide on how you communicate about your business, your customers, and, your future hires, right? Like I mentioned, life begins with selling, right? Every information is an attempt to sell. Is an attempt to sell. And when you don't understand this, you will not even get it. It's an attempt to sell, right? An attempt to sell. This is very important. So if I tell you, whenever I stop by at McDonald's, I love to have their cheeseburger. It's always very good, man. I just love it. I just told you an information, but guess what? I have sold two things to you: McDonald's and cheeseburger. So whenever you're passing through somewhere and you just see McDonald's, oh, McDonald's, let me get in there. And when you get in, guess what? They're going to want to try the cheeseburger. That's the way it works. So, but I never told you, there's a very, very, very interesting meal I want to introduce you to. It's being sold at McDonald's and it's cheeseburger, right? I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Okay? I didn't say that. Right? I didn't say that. So what I said was that whenever I drop by at McDonald's, I love to grab a cheeseburger. So every information is an attempt to sell, right? It's an attempt to sell. Okay? So business ethics refers to, when you talk about ethics, we're talking about moral principles. We're talking about guiding compass. We're talking about, things that guides behavior. Ethics, ethics, or we can also say ethos. So when we hear ethics, it's not just about some law. It's not about law. I mean, laws are different, right? But it's part of it. But ethics are more like the things that comprises your beliefs, your values, right? The beliefs, the values that then guides behavior. The beliefs and values that guides behavior. Beliefs and values that guides behavior. All right. So so there are business ethics that has to be upheld, right? Whether you're building a startup or you're building an SME, doesn't matter. So there are business ethics that guides, behavior, right? So why is it important to you? So if you're here, you've already started your company or you're about to start your company. Now, when you're going to make some certain decisions, it's important to define what guides behavior. All right, you've got to know it. Now, if you don't have the right corporate business ethics, you're going to make a lot of wrong decisions, and it's going to affect your reputation. It's going to affect your reputation. All right, your reputation capital is tied to your ethics, to the strength of your ethics. You know, there's something, I mean, a senior friend or a senior role model, right, would always say that the quality of a person lies in, or the sum total of a person lies in the quality of their thinking and the strength of their character. So a business is not just an organization. You know, oftentimes it's an organization, we try to, you know, make it look like some very hypothetical thing, you know. So a business is a human being. So you've got to treat your company as a human being, right? A human being that has character. So what is the strength of your business character? How do you make decisions? What guides behavior? What guides us to behave? By what principles are we operating, right? And if you're going to go far, except if you want to do hustle, you can log out right now. So if you want to, if what you want to do is, I just want to hustle, I don't have time for all of this, you know, all these many stories, you can actually leave the call now, right? Because you can either have a business or you have a hustle. And by the way, stop calling what you're building hustle. You know, Nigerians say this a lot. I'm just going to take time to correct it. You might want to go check the meaning of hustle, right? Oh, my hustle. You don't have a hustle. Stop calling what you're building a hustle. If you want to know what hustle is, I'd explain it. You know, I would assume that some, you know, or we've got some Nigerians on this call, you know, who live in Lagos. So I'm just going to use Lagos, right, as an example here. If you go to a place called Ikeja or Ikeja along, right, once you stop, right, maybe you jump off the bus or you come down, you know, at Ikeja along, once you stop there, just stand confused for 1 minute. No, that's too long. Stand confused for 10 seconds. 4 people would approach you and they will ask you this question. You won't buy, you won't sell, you won't buy. So what that means is, do you want to buy a laptop? Do you want to sell a laptop? They must, if you think is, if it doesn't happen, I'll give you $1,000. If you try it doesn't happen, I'll give you $1,000. It must happen, right? All of those guys, they are always at Ikeja along bus stop or Ikeja under bridge. And once you stand there confused for 10 seconds, they are going to try to drag you to go and either repair your laptop, which you're not even sure whether you have, or buy a laptop. And most times, one person takes you to a shop, and then once he takes you to that shop, guess what? The person that is in that shop will now follow him. There will now be 2 people taking you to a second shop. And if, I don't know, I mean, if life is not on your side, or life wants to deal with you, 3 of them will now follow you to the 3rd shop. And guess what? When you finally find what you're looking for, what's going to happen is that the person who has that product is going to mark up the first person, the second person, and the 3rd person. So ordinarily, if you're going to buy that product for, say, 100,000 naira, you're going to sell it for 100 and maybe 25,000 naira, because they have to settle those 1, 2, 3. Those 3 people are hustlers. So if that's what you want to do you know that you don't need to be in this class, right? You don't need to be in this class. You need to just go to that place, just engage them. In fact, watch what they are doing. You've learned it. All right? Hustle is not long-term. And that's why today, the person you saw telling you, oh, I sell laptops, you can see that person at Balogun. They'll be telling you suits, all types of suits. And like, I saw you in Ikeja selling laptop. Why are you selling suits? Because they're hustlers. A hustler jumps on the next thing just to survive. Hustling is survival mode. If you want to thrive, you build a business. Hustling is survival. Apple is not a hustle, and that's why the owner has died, but the company is still creating innovative products. So it's not a hustle. All right. So you might want to rethink your idea of saying, oh, I'm just hustling, I'm doing a hustle. If you want to do hustle, you don't need any formal training for that. Just go to the streets and just watch what they're doing, and then you find your way around it. All right. So this is very important. All right. So that's why this is important to you. Now we're going to be looking at what are some of the benefits of having the right corporate ethics, brand recognition and growth, increased ability to negotiate, customer retention. You attract the right kind of talents, you attract the right kind of investors, and then you establish trust in your products and services. Remember, I mentioned something about reputation capital. So there's what we call brand reputation capital. It comes from the sum total of all the activities that you're doing in your organization, how you run your company. When we look at the likes of Paystack, PiggyVest, Flutterwave, MoneyPoint, we love these companies. We want to work at these companies, right? But guess what? It's not a human being that is more better than everyone on this call that built it. The people who built these companies are not better. They are not better than the people on this call. They are not much better than the people on this call. And so the people on this call, you can actually build the next Paystack. This is not motivation, it's the truth, right? I've got a couple of portfolio companies that I've launched, and I'm advising, and I'm rooting for some of them. Some have gotten into global accelerators like Techstars, Y Combinator, and they are doing millions of dollars in revenue. So it's not, I'm not trying to motivate you. Oh, then when we're in school, if you are going to become the next Thomas Edison, yay! No, this is not that kind of thing. I'm telling you the facts. You can actually build the next Paystack. No jokes. You can, and there is a format. There is a systems to this. There's a system to these things, right? So it's not. I'm not trying to motivate you. But if I was saying you build the next Google, maybe I'm motivating you. But again, it's also possible, right? But I'm even using the Nigerian companies that we all know: Paystack, Flutterwave, PiggyVest. You can build the next of these companies, which means MoneyPoint is a unicorn right now. You can build the next unicorn. You can build the next unicorn, right? And so this is very important. And there is a system to it, right? There is a system to it. All these companies I mentioned, right? They are not up to 20 years. So it's not that, oh, we've been here for 20. No. They are less than 10 years. All of them. All of them are less than 10 years, right? Well, maybe about 10 years, maybe 10 years or more, maybe 12 years for likes of Flutterwave and Dela. PiggyVest started in 2015. I was their early customers, right? And, I've got some relationship with Josh or Donald, so I used to talk to them, then when he started out early. All right. Carrywise followed suit, I think 2017 or so. The MoneyPoint. So these companies are not old. So it's not that, oh, they were founded in 2002. No, they are not old. You can actually build the next PiggyVest if you want to. You find a problem and you find a gap, you get into that gap, and you can be the next. But guess what? It's not just by having a good product. You need the right system, right? You need to have the right system. And this is why this course is important. So when you combine all of these things, together, right, it impacts how you make money. It impacts how you, drive revenue and all of those kind of things. All right. And that's why you hear, I know that we've heard, so let me just do, if you've heard about a company that shut down, right, type the company. If you know any company that shut down, any startup that shut down, put it on the chat box. Let me see how many of us are following the conversation. If you know of any company that shut down, just type it in the chat box. If you know of any company, like startup, let's use startups, please, that shut down, just put it there. Put it there. Let me know how many of us are following. If you know of any startup that have shut down, just type it in. Type it in. Anyone? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Still waiting. I mean, if we're going to be in this space, I think that we should be checking these things now, right? I think we should be checking these things. If we're going to be in that, we're going to play as startup entrepreneurs, we should be checking it. So I'm still waiting. So nobody knows. Interesting. All right. So I've got something that I've kept aside. So I'm just going to share another tab. So okay, LaserPay. Great. LaserPay, buy coins. All right, great. No, Founder City, you're not permitted to respond with the students. All right, so Jane, thank you. LaserPay. LaserPay. Right. So there are a couple of them. I'm going to share a screen now. Just let me know when you see it. I'm going to share that now. Can you guys see what I'm showing? Can you see my screen? All right, great. So these are some of the, some like huge startups that shut down. And I've got some friends that, work at the startups, right? I know some of the founders too as well. So Dash, right? Shut down. Ghana. 54 Gene shut down. All right. Sandy, we heard about Pivo. Someone mentioned LaserPay, Zumi, Zazu. When did Zazu shut down? Of course, you know the story. People were, I think Portable was trending too at the time. So just, just like, so Bandu, Spire shut down too as well. Right. And interestingly, it's Charles, in the same WhatsApp group. We talk about different things around startups and just like talking about global ecosystem. So Charles is one building Inspire. We've done some things together before. And High shut down. We have Okada Books, and there are a couple of all of them more than this, right? So there are several reasons why these startups shut down. But most of the fintechs that shut down, money was not the reason. It is the abuse of money, mismanagement of money. So if you look at some of the fund, you will see $86 million. Dash raised $86 million and they shut down. And there's some startup looking for just $1 million, right? Or even looking for $500,000. Now, someone had $86 million and they shut down still. So that tells you there is more. I think I made a tweet that went viral, and Dr. Ola Brown commented, Victor Simota, all of like the big guys in the ecosystem. And I'm like, we need to start talking about corporate governance. Corporate governance. Most of these founders just hopped onto building a startup. A developer just thought that, oh, let me launch the next big thing without understanding corporate governance. When you talk to Shola and you talk to Ezra, you would notice that there's a lot of intentionality with the corporate governance in their systems. The same with Oduayo, Chibueze, Somto. These are the guys that founded PiggyVest, right? There's a lot of intentionality around their corporate governance. If you speak with them or you're closer to them, you would know this. There's a bit of frugality. There are systems to doing things. And that's why you might have a good product. Bad systems is going to affect you. It happened with Payday. Payday, it was clear. Payday shut down because of misappropriation of funds. Most of these companies raised huge money, but they still shut down. All right, they still shut down. So I'm not saying this to scare us, right? I'm not saying this to scare us, but it's very important to take these lessons, understand. And I want to challenge everyone: go back and read about them. Go and read about why they shut down, what happened. Read about it. It's very important. Read about their story. Know where the founders missed it, where they made errors. When we say startups fail because of lack of funding, startups also fail because of too much funding. So there's something called too much funding, too much funding. So when you don't know how to manage, there's no system to drive business operations, you're going to crash. And that's why if your body system starts to malfunction, imagine that your lungs that is supposed to be doing A is now doing B. You know, that's problem for you. When you hear things like, oh, there was some complication in your kidney, it is that your kidney is required, right, in the systemic flow of how your body works. Now, if your kidney starts to malfunction, it's going to affect everything about your body, and you start getting sick. And from getting sick, if they can't fix that problem, the person dies. And that's how businesses die. They get sick. No, they don't get sick first. A malfunction happens, and that malfunction starts. Maybe they tell you, stop smoking, stop smoking. Smokers are liable to die young. Guess what? It's still smoking. And then you develop a complication due to too much smoking. And then guess what? You get sick. When you get sick, if they can't, salvage that, whatever, the person dies. And by the way, that's how we lost one of the most iconic figures in the world, Michael Jackson. It was found that he injected too much propofol. He was surviving on those meds, and of course, it distorted his system. He got sick, right, and then he died. So, and this is very important, right? So you get sick when there is a malfunction. Malfunction happens when there is no system, the right system to ensure that it doesn't happen. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to our slide. All right. So what are the key principles of, corporate business ethics? So integrity and honesty, very important. You must be honest. Oh, how much do we have in the bank? What's our runway currently? What will it take us for us to remain in business? You must be honest. You must be honest. And dishonesty starts when people start raising money. Oh, you get in some money. Oh, you've closed your first $100,000, and the next thing you want to do is take out $10,000 to go and buy the next flashy car, or to change. Oh, you used to live in Yaba. Oh, this Yaba no longer fits me anymore. I'm going to VGC, or I'm going to Ikoyi. I'm going to Dolphin Estate. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. People were shocked that Ezra still lives in a rented apartment. He still lives in a rented apartment. Right? So integrity and honesty is very important. Respect for stakeholders, which is stakeholders here are your customers, the investors that gave you money, the advisors that are guiding you, right? Incubators like Founder City. So you must respect stakeholders. Accountability and responsibility. You must be accountable. That's why corporate governance exists. People think that, oh, when you start a business, please do well, oh, don't eat money, oh, don't embezzle money. Oh. There's no such thing as that. Business is not a church organization. Even church organizations, they've got corporate governance. So there has to be consequences for embezzling money, consequences for misappropriation of funds. Recently, I'm handling a case between two founders. The co-founder has discovered that her co-founder has been moving monies without her knowledge. And so I asked a few questions. And I'm like, oh, wow, you don't have corporate governance. That's why. So because if there was corporate governance, there could have been a process to how these monies were leaving the bank. And when there is corporate governance, it keeps you in check. So if somebody does something, the other person knows. All right? Corporate governance. And that's why I went to couples come together to have a joint account. For every transfers above 100,000 naira, it will require the signatures of both people. So if I want to steal 150K from our joint account, it's not possible, because I have to explain to my partner why I need to take 150K out. Corporate governance. Corporate governance, it's very you can't assume that people will behave appropriately. In fact, let me shock you. Do you know that You don't know you. Everybody on this call, you think you know yourself. You don't know yourself, right? You don't know yourself. When we catch somebody as a thief, we say, "Oh, look at that thief! Wow, so you're a thief." No, no, no. The person wasn't a thief because he was caught. The person was a thief, and that's why he stole. That's why he stole. So you steal because you are a thief. You are not a thief because you stole. You steal because you are a thief. So that means if the opportunity has not presented itself for you to steal, you may not steal. And let me take it further. Let's say, 100K hits the bank account. What was that? You can't steal it, right? Because where you operate, you're already bigger than 100,000 naira. Now, guess what? 100 million drops in the account. What are you going to do? All right. So even the stealing has levels, right? So oftentimes you've said things like, I can't believe I did that. I don't know if anybody can relate. If you can just give a thumbs up, give a thumbs up. You've said something like, I can't believe that I did this. I can't even believe myself that I'm the one doing this, right? If you've ever said that before, just give a thumbs up. I can't believe that I did this. Yeah, thanks, Kiki. I've said that before. So when you say that, it means that you're meeting yourself at that level for the first time. And so every time we unlock a new behavior, we meet a new self. Every time we unlock a new behavior, we meet ourselves at a higher level. So corporate governance helps you keep people in check. Accountability is not by saying, be accountable, I'm begging you, be accountable. Rubbish. Accountability is by setting systems to ensure that people are accountable. And that's why we've got things like traffic lights, driver's license. You see that now? We can't assume that when people meet at a T-junction, say, oh, don't worry, you come, I'm going to wait, you come. Okay, after you go, you can't assume that. You must put a system. Traffic light is the system. And guess what? In Nigeria, it's even more worse. It's more worse in Nigeria, right? It's more worse in Nigeria because with the traffic light, we are even not obeying the traffic light. So they needed to also put a LASMA official plus traffic lights so that if you jump the traffic light, they are going to arrest you. You see that now? That's like, we call it 2FA, two-factor authentication. So if you jump the traffic light, you will not jump the LASMA, right? They're going to put that thing they normally put underneath your car. And so you can't say, oh, we can trust you, right? We can trust you to, to behave yourself. We can assume that. We can trust you to behave yourself. We can assume that, right? We can assume that. We can't. I'll tell you guys a story. Nigeria before, you can go check it. Before, when you go to the markets in Nigeria, when you go to the market, what you need to do is you are going to find some maybe goods and products put on the shelf. You pick what you want, right? You pay, you pick the correct change, and you leave. That's how it was before. Many, many decades ago. You come to, nobody's there, nobody's attending to you. You come, you pick what you want, you pay. If you need to take change, you take the accurate change, and then you leave. But one idiot or one unfortunate fool saw that these guys are stupid. What? So you mean like I have to pick what I want, and I have to pay, and I'm seeing other monies there, like other people's money, and I should pretend I don't see 100K here. I can't pick it. So one idiot went there, picked what they wanted, never paid, and picked the money of other people. And that was the end. And so because of that, they now introduced a system. You know what? We need a sales girl. And guess who is going to pay for the cost of that sales girl? The customers. Now the sales girl says, this my madam trusts me too much. What was going on here? So you mean I'm in charge of this shop now and all the monies? And one sales girl or sales boy, so we're not gender biased. So one sales girl or sales boy decided to be stupid and said, or decided to be smart but stupid and started stealing money. And then the boss said, so this sales girl or sales boy thing didn't work. They put a CCTV camera. Guess who's going to pay for the cost of a CCTV camera? The customer. So you see now, it's corruption that has raised the prices of things over the years. Now, if we go back to where you can just, because there are some countries where you go in, you shop, you swipe your card, you leave. That's it. Nobody's checking you. Nobody's checking you. You go in, you pick what you want, what you want to buy, you pay, and then you leave. Right? And then you leave. So accountability needs a system to work. Of course, those companies have cameras everywhere, so you can't even run. So accountability needs a system. So I'm stressing on this because you can't just assume that even you will be accountable. Even you that started the company, you can't assume. You need a system to keep you in check. And that's why you have things like board of directors. Board of directors. You must answer to someone. Don't say, oh, I'm the... See, if you think you're going to start a company because you want to become the boss of your own self, you need to get off that, that mindset. There is nobody who is the boss of his own self. Nobody has that. I think maybe the only person that has that might be the creator, right? God doesn't answer to anybody, but everybody answers to someone. Everybody. All right. So that accountability, you need a system to make that work. All right. So integrity, I think I've talked about all of this, right? So you can get the slide and look at it later. So right about now, we're going to take a pause. All right. Take a breather. If you've got coffee, you've got tea, take your tea. I think I've got mine here. So you've got coffee, you've got tea, take your tea, take a breather. We're going to be moving, to looking at some of the soft skills, communication, email etiquette, and all of those things as you build your business. And by the way, I'd like us to, as we take a breather, punch in what you've learned so far. I want to see it from everyone. That's going to encourage me to, carry on. So we've got about 1 minute to do that. 1 minute. So it's a very short 1 minute. So punch in what you've learned. I want to read it. Punch in what you've learned. Punch in what you learned. Punch in what you've learned, please. Just punch it on the chat. What have you learned so far? What has jumped at you? I want to read what you've learned so far, please. I have also learned, okay, accountability needs a system to keep me in check. Thank you, Grace. I've also learned that I need to have a structured system before venturing into business so I don't fail. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Grace. Any other person? Any other person? Any other person? Okay. Okay. Grace said, I also learned that overfunding can also make a business fail, not just lack of funding. Yeah. How you manage that. Kiki says, I have learned I need a good structure for my business. Awesome. Pressure says a good business needs a good structure, accountability, and frugal partners. Yeah, you can be a boss all by yourself. Okay, I think I said you can't be a boss all by yourself. Yeah, so you cannot. Yeah, so you cannot. All right, everybody has a boss. So if you think, the CEO reports to the board, right? So that your board is your boss, right? So everybody got a boss. Even if you don't have a board, the customer is your boss. They dictate or tell you what to do and what not to do. Right? So everybody got a boss. That's very important. All right, so we're going to move on to the next. We're just going to proceed very quickly. So soft skills for superpreneurs. I think this is like student entrepreneurs. right? So I think I've mentioned the importance of building a strong set of soft skills, right? Things that help you close the customer, things that help you establish your brand presence. In fact, when you start a company, one of the first things you want to do is to sell the vision to, you know, someone that you want to have on board as a co-partner or a co-founder, a co-builder. You've got to be able to sell the vision to bring your first key team on board. And if you can't bring them on board, then you have no chance. If you can't bring them on board, you've got no chance. And this is very important. All right. So let's look at some of these skills. So adaptability and flexibility. So this is being able to adjust, right, to different situations. You know, when they say chameleon, chameleon changes color based on different environments. So you've got to, in that sense, become a chameleon in that sense. All right. Because what you're entering into, or for some of us that have started, because I read some of your profile, I see you've started some company, you've launched your startup, but the truth is, it's the system, especially if you're building out of Africa in Nigeria. The system has been designed to ensure that you do not succeed. That's a very tough thing to say, but that's the truth. The system has been designed. I'm not saying that the system was designed not to support you. You know, there is when you don't support me, but you don't work against me. That's fine. I'm good. So, I mean, it's what we call indifferent. I'm not supporting you. I'm not getting in your way. Good, right? I mean, if it was that in Nigeria, I think we'll do fine. But the system is saying, I'm not going to support you, but I'm going to ensure that you don't succeed. That's the very, very deplorable system we found in Nigeria. But guess what? The good news is that even with that system that is designed to break you, a lot of entrepreneurs are succeeding. I mentioned some people, on this call, Paystack, Piggyvest, Flutterwave, Andela, a lot of companies, Lemfi, a lot of companies are succeeding. So if there is no examples to work with, I might say let's proceed with caution. Nobody has succeeded in Nigeria as a startup entrepreneur, so let's proceed with caution, right? But people have succeeded. A lot of people have succeeded. So a lot of flexibility is needed to operate as a startup entrepreneur in Nigeria. It's a third world country, and like I mentioned, the system is designed to ensure that you fail. Imagine a system that is working against you. That's the reality. But what you do with that reality is very important. And so you've got to be adaptable and flexible. You've got to be checking, what new policies are coming? What's going to happen? What new systems are going to disrupt what I'm currently building? You've got to be adaptable. Now, even with the industry you're playing, let's say you're playing in logistics, there are 1,000 and tons of thousands of problems in logistics. Right? I think it was Femi of Chadek that tweeted, while I'm here thinking about building a good product for the customer, last month, I think was police has arrested one of my bike riders for no just reason. You see, that's a problem. So how do you wake up and then you check the WhatsApp or Slack channel? Oga, we can't do that. Oga, this rice don't pour. Police don't arrest me. They don't chop the food. So how do you even deal with all of that? So you've got to develop thick skin to deal with that. So based on the industry, if it's logistics, if it's fintech. Now with fintech, you can't just launch a fintech these days. There are lots of policies, there are lots of things that you've got to be aware of. So you need a tough and thick skin to build in Nigeria. So a lot of adaptability and flexibility. In fact, if you're not going to be flexible, you should never become an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is someone who is creative about the way they deploy resources to solving a problem. It even starts with their mindset, the way they look at problem. I think I need to also do that. An entrepreneur is not someone that has a business. That's a business owner. Not all business owners are entrepreneurs. So don't be confused. You may have started a business, doesn't make you an entrepreneur. Because oftentimes we think that, oh, I'm selling, sneakers, so I'm an entrepreneur. You're not an entrepreneur because you sell sneakers. Anybody can sell sneaker. Any fool can sell sneaker. It's just to buy it. How much do you buy it? How much do you want to sell it? That's trading. An entrepreneur, is someone that is creative, looks at problem differently, and deploys resources, capital, to solving that problem. Now, you can run a company, right? And you can be entrepreneurial in the way you think about that. And that's when you look at Paystack, that's an entrepreneurial thinking. How can I charge, how can I be in a country and accept payment from another country, right? You look at the likes of Shotless. You can say, oh, but Shotless. And that's why you must look at problems differently. Shotless could have said, oh, let me start another Uber. There's Uber, there's Bolt, there's InDriver, there's Rider. Damilola could have started another boat, and that's it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But he said, no, people can't afford, more people can't afford to be on boats. But they also don't want to be on those yellow buses that are annoying. Let me provide something in between. That's an entrepreneurial thinking. And so you must look at problem differently. That's what makes you an entrepreneur. Not that you started a company. No, you must look at problem. Entrepreneurs solve problems. And that's why you can be working for a company and you're an entrepreneur in that company because you're solving problems. So now, how you sell that problem or sell that solution is business. So business is the sales part. Entrepreneurship is the thinking part. Entrepreneurs spend time thinking. How do we disrupt? How do we change? How do we, so you've got to be flexible. All right. And then problem solving. I've even talked about it. You've got to be very passionate about problems. If you don't love problems, and if you consciously sing all those songs, I don't want wahala, you are not an entrepreneur. You're not. Every time there's a problem, you must gravitate to where the problem is. You must go to where the problem is. You must not be the person that run away from problems. I don't like problems. No, you must love problems. And every single day you step out of your house, if you're yet to start your company or yet to start your venture, start looking into the environment. Don't start with an idea. Start with a problem. Entrepreneurs are not people that, oh, there's this idea I have. No. Even these days, fools have ideas. You don't know, fools have ideas. All right. So anybody can think about every ideas are everywhere. So don't start with an idea, start with a problem. When you start with a problem, you eject an idea from that problem. An idea comes from looking at the problems that exist. I shared about Shotless right now. An idea comes from looking at the problems that exist. Okay, then teamwork, being able to work with other people. And working with other people involves, managing the emotions, accommodating other people, understanding other people. Emotional intelligence, empathy, all of these are needed, to collaborate, to work in a team. All right, so the idea, you see why the idea of BYOB, be your own boss, is a very foolish idea. There's no such thing as that. You can't, there's no such thing as I want to be man. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like that. You're going to always be answerable to someone. You must work with people. If life was designed that you don't need to work with anyone, then there will just be one person in the world, maybe Adam. That's all. So we were designed to work with people. And that's why I always say this. Relationship is a need. Relationship is a need. Whether you like it or not, you must be in a relationship. What see you, even if you say, "Oh, I don't want to see," it's coming to you. Relationship is coming to you. It must meet you where you are. And guess what? Let me even shock us. The first relationship you were forced to have without your own permission is the one with your parents. Nobody asked for your opinion. You didn't even ask me, do I want to be born? Why didn't you kill me? Did I tell you I wanted to meet you guys? You met your parents. So a relationship is a need. So you must learn how to work with other people. Oh, when I used to work as developer at this company, I just talk to my computer. You can't do that. No, you can't. As an entrepreneur now, you can no longer do that. Oh, I'm just a reserved person. I don't like people. You must like people. You can't build anything without working with people. Now, there's a difference between when you say I'm introverted, where you say, okay, most times I will not be in like large gatherings or yada yada, right? I'm more introverted. But again, that's also relative, because at some point when you start out, you need to be with people. Or if you can't be with people, you need to hire someone to be with people, because you must get the word out. So you must learn how to work with other people. And teamwork is about understanding. It's about managing emotions, right? It's also about communicating effectively with other people. It's about, again, flexibility, being able to accommodate an opinion, right? Very important. I'm going to try to get something very quickly, trying to rush because of our time. So I'm reading a book by Steve Jobs, right? So I'm going to read something here for us. I'll try and get it. So it's it wasn't written by Steve Jobs, but it was a memoir of Steve Jobs' life. Okay. So I'm going to read it. All right. So now, when Steve Jobs came back to Apple, right, he met a very, very disorganized, disoriented Apple when he returned to Apple in 1997. And then he was trying to get back the team on track. And then Apple had acquired Next. So Next was a company that Steve Jobs built when he left Apple. So one of the Next engineers also joined Apple. And then he was just very, very, very upset about the way Apple was going. So this was the mail that Harvard sent to Steve at 10:05 p.m. 10:05 p.m. We really need to get together to discuss this and other issues related to product strategy and overall management of the company. I'm worried about a number of pieces of the puzzle, and as a result, I'm completely unmotivated to do what it takes to turn this company around. That's Apple, and Apple was almost close to bankruptcy. Okay. And for the first time in 10 years, I don't even feel like challenging your ideas when I disagree, which scares me because I believe as a team, we work best when we challenge each other. As a team, we work best when we challenge each other and come out of all the better for it. I'm going to sleep on this some more tonight. I feel fried already, and it's only Monday evening. Even the weekends are insufficient to recharge these days. I have a pretty hectic schedule tomorrow, except for late in the day, but I have lots of available time on Wednesday. Let me know when you are available. Now, this was Steve Jobs' response to Avadis. Please continue to challenge me. Is the way we get the right decisions. I enjoy it too. All right? So you must be able to be open as the founder to be challenged. People will tell you, oh, you are wrong. I don't believe that's the way to go. Right? So, and that's where flexibility and then also accommodating other people's opinion comes into play. Okay. So effective communication. All right. So communication is the underlying base. Like everything is about communication. Right? Life literally is about communication. In fact, let me throw in a joke that is true. Everybody on this call, we exist today because of effective communication. Think about it. That's deep, right? That's deep. I think that's deep. Everybody on this call, you are alive, like you existed in this world because of effective communication. Your dad, I don't know, whichever, maybe your dad or your mom communicated to your dad or your mom, right? Each of them communicated to each other. But in most cases, your dad communicated to your mom. And the result of that communication is everybody on this call today. If your dad didn't know how to communicate to your mom, right, maybe we wouldn't be here. And so communication is the bedrock. And if you can't communicate, you've got no chance at life. You can't win in life. And so effective communicators are people, right, that have mastered how to connect deeply with other people. I mean, I don't think we have more time to go like very deeply into communication, right? There are like 7 C's of communication, concise, concrete, clear, so there are different things you have to take note of when communicating. Your message has to be clear. It has to be concise, go straight to the point. It has to be concrete, has all the important, information that is needed. And one thing I'd like to say in communication here is the fact that the most important element of communication is the receiver, not you, not your message. 7% of communication is what you want to say. 93% is how it is said and how it is perceived. How it is said and how it is perceived. Most of us would have, heard this before. It's not what he said that is paining me, it's the way he said it. I know most of us can relate to that. So oftentimes, it's not what he said, but how it is said. So every time as an entrepreneur, you're going to be communicating, selling your vision to bring co-founders and your first key team on board, selling your vision to your first key talent, selling your vision to customers, selling the product to customers, selling the product to investors, to different stakeholders. You're going to be communicating when you're pitching to investor, when you're selling to a customer, when you're trying to get your team on board. These are avenues of communication. And so everything you're going to do as an entrepreneur lies in your ability to communicate. If Thornhurst City team never communicated appropriately, you wouldn't be here today. You will not be here today. You will not sign up for this program. It's communication that got us here, right? It's communication that got us here. And so you must learn that. It's very important. And so the most important person is the person receiving the message. So you think about, this thing I want to say, should I say it in an email? Should I call this person? Should I text this person? Should I send a WhatsApp message? Should I send a message on Slack? And so the person receiving the message determines how you say it. So don't just say, I don't care if you understand. I've said what I said. No, you've not said what you said. I think that's a podcast. I said what I said. So you've not said what you said. If you've got to be effective, you must ensure that the person you're talking to understands what you're saying. There's something we say in communication, and I'll say that the meaning of communication is the response that you get. What you get as response is the meaning of your communication. So if people don't understand you, it's the pressure or the responsibility is on you to make sure you're understood. In fact, I learned something on Twitter by a friend of mine called Charles. He's building a startup called Bizo. He said that, when you're communicating, don't say things like, am I understood? Right? So I'm like, because we say that, am I understood? Am I understood? Do you understand? Am I understood? Say, am I clear enough? Because here's the thing. When you say, am I understood? You're putting the pressure to the recipient that they must understand you. No, you've got to be clear enough to be understood. All right. So it should be, am I clear enough? So, oh, you're not clear enough. Okay, let me re-clarify. And that's why people end emails with, oh, okay, if you need more clarification, I'm here, I'm happy to help. All right. So am I clear enough? And so the responsibility for effective communicators is on you, not on the recipient. And so you must ensure that you're clear, right? And customers are different. Don't say, oh, but 10 of my customers understand this. Why is this customer stressing my life? Is most times a Nigerian thinking. If you go to developed countries, don't think like that. They treat everybody as one unique individual, right? And if you're building a company, you must learn how to do that, right? So when communicate is not about what you want to say, I've said that already, but how you say it. 97% of communication is how you say it and how it is perceived. And in how you say it, it's about, you know, your body language, the tonality of your voice, the tone of your voice, your body language, and all such things, right? So it's very important. So let's see what Money Point CEO says here. So I'm just going to get someone to read that. So let me see. Kiki, can you read what we have on the screen? Kiki, if you're there, and unmute yourself and read. Kiki.
Okay, so no, like Money Point CEO who says he's a shy person who would rather not speak. But as you can see, in today's time, you have to at least try because no one will do it for you. If you don't, and why you need to learn basic communication ethics so you know how to become correct.
Thanks a lot, Kiki, for that. So you see that, you know, oh, I'm shy and I want to be rich should not exist in the same statement. I'm shy and I want to be rich. You know, if you are shy, you should be comfortable being broke or poor. Shy people should be poor, right? So let's match all the values. So shy people should be poor, and the shy I mean here is that there is where you say, oh, I'm a shy person. I don't like coming to speak in the crowd. I'd rather just speak within a team. But you must communicate. There's no time. Even if you say, oh, I'm a shy person, how are you going to do interview? So, okay, when you go for interviews, oh, tell us about yourself. I'm shy. I'm just shy. Just give me the job. I'm good. How? How am I going to give you the job? You must sell yourself to me to get the job. All right. So if you want to be excellently poor and broke, you can be shy. No problem. Right. So you can see what Tosin is saying here. So I mean, look at Money Point is a unicorn. Money Point didn't become a unicorn by Tosin being, I'm shy. I don't want to talk about what we are doing. I don't want to talk about what we are building. I don't want to go to these tech events now and just be talking about. I don't want to meet anybody. You know, you go for tech event, you run home immediately, and you want to build a startup, and you think that you're going to find investors by running home, by being shy. Nah, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And let me make a joke that, you know, we normally make, see on Twitter with all this relationship and single and all of those things, right? If you want to be in a relationship, you must present yourself as someone who is ready to be in a relationship. All right? You put your account on private. You don't attend meetings. You're in your house laughing, you know, and you're scrolling on Instagram. Wow, oh, couple goals. You will never have it. You would never experience that because nobody's going to come and meet you in your house, right, to be with you. You've got to go out there. And business is about relationships, so you must go out there. So there are some things you must stop using to describe yourself today. If you're going to go on this path, if you say, oh, I just want to work for someone, I'm shy. No, you can be shy. Get past the interview and maybe go and become a developer. You don't talk to anybody, you're fine, you know, which also believe that is far-fetched. But I mean, the pressure is lesser when you are an employee. But when you are an entrepreneur, the pressure is more. You must sell the vision to first key employees. You must sell the vision to customers. You must sell the vision to investors. You must talk about it. right? You can't say I'm shy. It doesn't work like that. Now, if you are shy, then you should afford to hire people to sell for you. That's another way to go around it. Oh, I'm shy. I don't like to talk. I've been in pitching sessions where the CEO was not pitching. It was maybe the CTO or the COO or the CMO, right? But the CEO was not the one pitching because maybe they were not good with, some people are not so eloquent with communicating, at that level. So they bring someone else to pitch. So you can't say I'm shy, I don't like to talk, and then you don't want to bring someone to do that. No, you can't have it. And this is very important. All right. So just gonna move fast. So active listening. So you must listen to understand, not listen to react. You must listen to first understand, not listen to react. When you listen to understand, you respond. Response is a function of understanding. Reaction is that you just want to burst out. So don't always react to things. Respond to things. When you respond, you've given it a careful thought, right? So you must listen. You must be clear and concise. I've mentioned that. Then also non-verbal communication, right? Eye contact. If you're talking to someone physically, imagine you coming to make a speech and then you just put your head down, or you're just reading, all right, today, welcome to Fanhurst City program. I'm here to let you know that this program is going to change your life. You're going to be, transformed. You're going to learn how to run a company. Some of the things to note in this program. Number one, we don't imagine someone doing that. You're just going to tune up. What is that? You're not communicating with us. You've got to be looking at us. Even if you're reading a script, at some point you communicate. So your body language, and you're also checking the body language of the person you're talking with, so that you're not boring them. All right, and you're talking, people are yawning and they're looking left and right. I mean, we know that old joke. If somebody starts to, look left and right when you visit them in their house, or start to maybe check things, move around the house, and they start calling names, Toby, Nkechi, they're just telling you that your time is up in this house. You need to go back to your own house. So that's a body language of, I am tired of this conversation, right? So emails, right? We'll move to emails quickly. So emails is a type of communication. And that's why communication is the bedrock. Whether you're doing emails or texting or WhatsApping or Slacking or Telegramming or whatever. So, right? Communication is the bedrock. All of these are forms of communication. And so you must learn how to write a proper email. Excellence must go into how you write an email. I get emails and I cringe. How is someone who is a graduate writing this way? You can't correct your tenses. And these days we've got technology tools to help you. AI is already there. Grammarly is there. There is no excuse to write nonsense. There's no excuse for that. There's no excuse to, not understand the magic words. Thank you, kindly, please, I apologize. Like the magic words. And I see that the most basic things, people don't follow it. Right? It's got to be a subject line. And when thinking about your subject line, it has to be clear. It has to be about, don't try to introduce to subject or subject, meeting report and sales meeting call, meeting report and sales meeting call with MPR. What kind of subject is that? I'm going to be confused. Which are you telling me? Meeting report November 2024. Simple. And then if you want, send another email. Email is free. You're not charged for emails, right? Like sending, what I mean, you're not charged is free. You can send 10 emails in a day, right? So don't try to communicate many things in an email. Maybe you go, oh, hi, I'm just here to remind you that you need to submit your meeting report, ahead of the sales call happening on Saturday. Also that we have a party by December 20th. And then we're going to be meeting with the CEO to discuss the strategy. Like, that's a lot of information in one email. They are probably going to pick what jumps at them and forget about the rest, right? So it must be clear, right? Appropriate salutation, very important. Now, you guys might think, oh, why this is very simple now. Who doesn't know this? Some people don't know this. And it's funny. Most people don't know this and they're graduates, right? And there are some investors that an investor never invested because somebody sent an unprofessional email. I think it was because they were not using things like, oh, dear Mr. Distin, please kindly find attached or kindly find. People just say, see. So the investor felt this. What was this? Why are you talking to me like that, right? And they never invested because of that, because of an email etiquette. The product was good, but they didn't invest. They were not sure. If you didn't know how to communicate in an email, right? Why should I invest in your company? Now you might say that's really overboard, and I get that, right? But it's what it is. So you don't know what somebody is going to use to say, you know what, I'm not gonna continue with the partnership. I think that you are unprofessional, and you might not even mean what you have written, but because you don't know how these things work, right? Appropriate salutation. Dear is used for someone you've never met or someone that you're meeting for the first time. Dear Mr. Yada Yada. Now, when you build an acquaintance, oh, hi, Adebayo. Now, if they prefer to be called like that, right? If they say, oh, my name is Dr. Adebayo, don't say dear Adebayo. Dear Dr. Adebayo. There's a reason why they told you their name is, first someone say, oh, doctor, please, someone said, how can I spend almost 8 years getting this degree? You not call me Adebayo. No, please put the doctor there, right? So I would say prof. So you say, dear prof, you must say that. This is very important. Okay. Tone and language, right? Very important. Again, we're back to communication, right? You must check for your tone. We've got ChatGPT these days. Just put it there. Say, is this professional enough? Can you rework this to be a bit more business formal or business casual or whatever tone you're looking for? So, the funny thing right now, I think anybody that is going to be writing lazy emails is lazy, right? Is a lazy person. Why? Because there are lots of tools to help these days. There are some emails I don't even bother myself writing. I'll just go to ChatGPT. Oh, I want to send an email to this person acknowledging this thing, write it for me, and I prompt it very well, and it tells, you just write and I correct something and I put it, that's it. I save my time. I don't have to respond to many people. I just save my time. It responds to me, I put it there, and that's it. I tell it what I want. Oh, make it fun, make it jovial, make it exciting, make me excited in the response. And it tells me, of course, I remove some buzzwords, things like I'm thrilled. It likes I'm thrilled. Every time I'm thrilled, they're always thrilled. But I try to remove those buzzwords, right? And I just make it sound like me. But it's very important to leverage on technology tools these days. So there's no excuse for anyone to write a bad email. There's no excuse. Okay, it's very important. So there's a sample here. Dear Mr. Adebayo, I hope this email finds you well. I'm writing to follow up on our recent discussion about the website design project for your new startup, Niger Tech Solutions. Attached, please find a detailed proposal outlining our approach, timeline, and pricing of the project. I believe our team's expertise in creating user-friendly, mobile responsive websites will be a great fit for your needs. Please let me know if you have any questions or would like to schedule a meeting to discuss the proposal further. I'm available at your convenience. Thank you for your consideration. I look forward to an opportunity with you. Best regards. All right. So one thing you must know here is that this particular email, so it should always be centered to the left, right? Not put in the middle. So this is a design of it. So it should be centered to the left, not put in the middle. It looks very awkward when you do that. So you indent it to the left. So you justify it to the left. So there is left justification, there is middle, there is full justification. Oftentimes when you do the full one, it comes off looking funny, all right? So you just justify to the left, okay? So I want us to do a quick test. So write a professional email addressing one of the following scenarios. So scenario 1, reaching out to a potential investor to pitch your business idea. 2, communicating with a key supplier to negotiate a new contract. 3, informing your employees about an important policy change in your company. So we're going to take about 5 minutes. We're going to take about 5 minutes to do this. So I want you to punch in your responses on the chat, right? Punch your responses on the chat. Just a very short email. So you can pick any scenario you want. So if you're picking scenario 1, just write scenario 1 and then just put it there. All right. And if I get the first person, we can use that to, you know, as our guinea pig for the class. So 5 minutes, let's quickly do that. I think we're running out of time. 5 minutes. Let's do that. 5 minutes. Just pick any scenario, type scenario 1, and then punch your response on the chat. Thank you. 5 minutes. You got 4 minutes, 30 seconds. You can punch in your response. Respond directly on the chat, please. Okay, I see there's a response, dear supplier. Okay. Still waiting for Omare. I think you're trying to type. So you need to type everything all at once. So you might need to do it somewhere and then copy and paste, because you cannot, or you can also use like the space bar, just, you know, but you need to like copy at once and paste. So we can look at it together. You've got 4 minutes more to go. Four minutes more to go. Two minutes, 30 seconds. I'm yet to see a response. 2 minutes, 30 seconds. So you have to do it all at once. I'm saying yes, sir, yes, sir. So you have to all just copy and paste. 1 minute, 30 seconds to go. 1 minute, 30 seconds to go. All right, so I've gotten one. So Grace, email subject, urgent policy updates. All right, so that's scenario 3. Dear, name of team member. I mean, you could have used any name. I hope this finds you well. I hope this email finds. Please be informed of the recent update in our company policy. Attached on this email is a document explaining details of the policy update. Best regards. Now let's analyze this. Thank you, Gracie, for being the guinea pig. Now, email subject, urgent policy update. All right, so that's cool. If I say it, I mean, I already know that this is urgent. Let me just quickly look at it. So I think that was good. Dear, so I don't think, except if you use dear in the company, this person is your team member, so there's going to say dear. So you just say, oh, hi, right? Hi, okay. And of course, you were informing your employees, so it's just to say, oh, hi all, okay. Hi everyone, because you're talking to a larger broad of people, except if it was an email sent specifically to each member of the team using maybe a mail merge feature, so it comes with their name. Hi Tayo, right? So hi Tayo. So you use hi for team members. Okay, then I hope this email finds you well. Please be informed of the recent update in our company policy attached in this email. So not on. So you're attaching in, not on. So again, this is where Grammarly comes in to correct that. So if you're right, it tells you, oh, this is wrong. So attached in this email is the document explaining the details of the policy update. Now something is missing, right? The closing was not, there's no proper closing here. And closing is always with it. You give final information and then you thank them. Now with closing here, it could have been, if you have any questions about any areas in this new policy, please send me an email or contact me on, I'll be happy to help. Thank you. So it's always good to end with saying thank you, right? It's just a normal thing you do at the end of the communication. So now you did not open up the door for them to reach out if there's a problem, and that's that empathy in communication. It's an urgent policy update, right? There could be questions, there could be gray areas, there could be clarification. So you also needed to open up that opportunity. Okay. Now with what you've sent, it then appears that no room for debating anything, understand it, or that's it. Don't stress my life. Okay. You've got to do that. So thank you, Gracie, for that. So we're just going to move on. All right. So documentation skills, very important. Now, you cannot track properly when you don't have a system to document your processes, to document things. I'd always say this in business structuring classes, right? What you don't track, you can't measure. What you don't measure, you can't improve. And what you don't improve, you can't scale. All right, I'll take that again. What you don't track, you can't measure. What you don't measure, you can't improve. What you don't improve, you can't scale. Track, measure, improve, scale. And to track, you must create a system that enables you to track things. And that's where documentation comes in. How do we create our products? How do we deliver our products? How do we, reach out to the customer? How do we get money for our products? If our product is broken, how do we go about that? Who do we talk to? All right. How do we take customer feedback? Right? How do we hire talent? How do we grow talent? How do we assess, the performance of talent? You've got to know that. Very important. So there has to be process flows to different things. Now, automation happens when there is a process, right? And I like to do this every time when I'm operating different companies. I create process flows. Oh, view, I'm looking for, check the link. I'm looking for, check this link. I'm looking for, check that link. So you see that nobody needs to tell anybody what to do. The process just tells you what to do, because there's a process. We'll call it, guides, different things, knowledge base, right? So you must document. Okay, this is very important. You must document, because when you document, you're able to track. So record keeping, contracts. So there are a lot of things that you can document. All right, your data, your policies, your process, everything. Right, it has to be clear as to how to access each document. So why do you need to document? There is a high level organization with your business operations. Business operations gets stifled when there is no clear documented process. When you say, oh, I know what to do, is in my head. No. Nobody is going to scale their business by keeping processes in their head. So you've got to leave your head and get on the books. Communicate well with your stakeholders, protect your business interests and your intellectual property. Is also going to position you as a professional. All right, very important. So strong documentation skills are essential for long-term success. I've said something about thinking for the long term. Thinking for the long term. You're not building a hustle, you're building a company. All right, so I believe that we don't have so much to say about documentation. Everybody knows what a process is, writing a process flow, how to do something, how this works, how that works, how that works. You must have a process flow. And if your business involves production and delivery, right, there has to be like a lot of moving parts. So you write, how do we produce? How do we source for the materials? Let's say you're a fashion startup, your fashion business. How do you source for the materials? How do you cut the materials? How do you make the materials? How do you make the dresses? How do you deliver the dresses? How do you, so all of those things. If a dress is broken or if a product, how do customers raise complaints? How do you treat those kind of things, right? It's going to be that. Okay, so I'm going to put us into group right now. So I'm just going to try to do that. I just hope everybody's in here. So just give me a moment. So I'm going to give numbers. So Amarachi Ann, you're number one. Amarachi Ann, you're number one. You're number one. Take note. Write it down somewhere. Amarachi Ann, you are number one. Amarachi Ann, you are number one. Thank you. So I think, yes, thumbs up if you got it. Blessing Patrick, you're number two. Blessing Patrick, you're number two. Did you get it? Thumbs up if you got it. You're number two. Blessing Patrick. Just give a thumbs up if you got it. Give a thumbs up. You can find the thumbs up icon, on the control area. So give a thumbs up. Blessing, we're waiting for you. Do we move to the next person? So this will help me know those who are also present in the call. I mean, some people join because and they are frying egg in the kitchen. So Blessing, if you're here, just give a thumbs up or drop a message. So you're number two, Blessing. All right. So we're going to move to Grace. Grace, you're number three. Grace, did you get that? You're number three. Thumbs up or chat. If you got it, thumbs up or chat. You're number three. Okay, thank you. Jane, you're number one. Jane, you're number one. Okay, you're in motion. Okay, no problem. Jane, you're number one. Jane, you're number one. Did you get it? Jane Agadia, you're number one. If you got it, a thumbs up or a chat. If you got it, a thumbs up or a chat. You're number one. Okay, you wrote all mine. That means you got it. Kiki, you're number two. Kiki, you're number two. Kiki, you're number two. Kiki, you're number two. You got it? Thumbs up or a chat. You're number two. Thumbs up or a chat. Okay. Adenike, you're number three. Number three. Adenike, you're number three. Thank you, Kiki. Adenike, you're number three. Thumbs up or a chat. You're number three. Adenike Ogunade, if I got that correctly. Okay, I'm in transit. Okay, you're number three. Anyway, it doesn't matter if you're in transit. That's fine. Omari, you're number one. Omari, you're number one. Omari, you're number one. All right, great. So then Precious, you're number two. Precious, you're number two. Precious, you there? You're number two. Precious Mesama, you're number two. Thumbs up or a chat. Okay, got it. Precious Oko, you're number 3. Precious Oko, you're number 3. You got it, thumbs up or a chat. Precious Oko, you're number 3. All right, got it. Then Stanley, you're number 1. Stanley, you're number 1. Stanley, you are number 1. All right, so I want all ones. Look at the first scenario. All ones, look at the first scenario. Now, because, I mean, there's no breakout feature, I would have done that. So there's no breakout feature here. I think this is not the advanced plan, so it doesn't have that. So your number, oh, yeah.
This is the Pro version.
This is the what?
I think this is the advanced one. You can get the breakout.
Oh, really? So can you create that? I don't see it.
Okay, so I need to check for my controls.
Yeah, I also don't see that it's recording because usually, okay, it's recording. Yeah, okay, yeah, there should be. Okay, let me see.
Should we?
Okay.
Should I see if you can work with the breakout room?
Yeah, let's see if we can. We can. I can't see the feature. I can't. Okay, I think I can see it now. Okay, see it. Okay, I'm going to create it right now. All right, so I'm going to try to do that if we can quickly get it out of the way. Oh, okay, I think it's the host that can do it. So 1, 2, 3. I want everybody assigned. I think we have very, very limited time. I need to even jump into another conversation. Can you get that quickly? If you can't get that quickly, I can get different people to do that. But whilst that is happening, right? So if you're number 1, look at the ethical scenario, the first one, which is a supplier offering a lucrative deal. That's your ethical scenario, right? So number 2s, all the 2s, look at the second ethical scenario, a potential investor, right? And then all the number 3s, your ethical scenario is your company is facing financial difficulties, right? So I want you to, so if you have your breakout rooms, if it's working, you want to discuss quickly and get someone to, speak on your behalf, how you're going to, approach this. All right. So we're going to do that in 5 minutes. We're going to do that in 5 minutes. So if we don't have the breakout rooms, it means that I'll just call on any number 1 to, to speak, to tell us what they are going to do. All right. So if you've got your breakout rooms, you can discuss. If that's not happening, just look at it as just you, because I mean, there's not how you're going to talk with any other person if you're in the general group. Okay. So we've got 5 minutes to look at. So if you're number 1, look at the first ethical scenario. If you're number 2, look at the second. If you're number 3, look at the third. 5 minutes. Okay, right. All 1s join 1, all 2s join 2, all 3s join 3. So I'm not going to join anyone. I'm just going to be here. All 1s join 1, all 2s join 2. I think everybody needs to join that because I see some people already joining. So ensure that you're not leaving the meeting and you're ending the call. Like you need to join a certain breakout room. Discuss all 1s, discuss all 2s, discuss all 3, discuss. Maybe you might take a screenshot. I'm not sure if this is going to be projected in the breakout room. So you might take a screenshot. Don't know how it's going to work with Google. So you might take a screenshot of this so that I can't find the option of joining breakout room. No, I think maybe they need to add you. Yeah, so admin, you might need to add different people. Maybe they need to mention what their group is or something. But people should be able to join
Right.
a group.
Yeah.
They should be able to join a group, yeah? Why are they not able to
Yes.
join?
I think they're probably finding their way around it. So
Oh,
you
okay,
don't have
but
to call
they can join. It
the
doesn't
group.
restrict.
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay, maybe they're not used to it. Okay, I get it. All right. So Adenika was added to one instead of three. So you might need to leave.
All
Adenika,
right.
you
I
need to
didn't.
leave.
I just when I was preparing, when I was editing the, I didn't follow. I wasn't. I'd kind of forgotten how we set up their names into groups.
So we're going to be back 11:55. Sorry, 12:55 your time. So we're going to be back 12:55 p.m. 12:55 p.m. Please. Twelve 55 p.m. All right, I think it's time for everyone to come back. I think it's time for everyone to come back. If you're still in the breakout room, please come back. Thank you. We need to wrap up. We need to wrap up. We need to wrap up. Everybody come back. So I want somebody to speak. Who is the spokesperson for group one? Group one. I don't want us to waste time. Is it me? Is it you? Just, I mean, if you didn't join the group and you don't have a spokesperson, one person should just speak if you were in group one. So group one, let's hear how you would handle this situation. Group one, please, we don't have time. We need to like take the responsibility and speak. Anybody from group one, if you were in group one and you read it through, even if you didn't join the group, no problem.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, Jane.
I wasn't able to join the breakout room, but I'll just quickly share my opinion on this. Yeah. So, first of all, unethical labor practices have to do with just, I think, general practices that affect people working with the organizations or the organization, possibly cheating them of their labor time, poor code of conduct, poor value system, discredit, data breach, and stuff like that. So I think if I would, a lucrative deal certainly we associate, let's say the name of the company is company X. So if I would be getting into a huge deal like that with company X, it means I accept their value system, accept their code of conduct, and I'm accepting the way they run their organization. So accepting that deal with them would also reflect on my own reputation. I think you mentioned something about reputation. Yes. I'm a kind of people-centric person, like how do I put the word? I love making sure that people are comfortable in their space. So having that kind of scenario, that kind of work setting, I don't think I would want to take that offer. Yeah, it's going to be a very big creative deal. And of course, I would want to think of the money and the gains it can bring. But also, reputation matters. Reputation matters. So many other deals can come up later on. But if you have a damaged reputation, sorry, it's kind of noisy here. But can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, but if you have a damaged reputation, it will take a lot of time to fix. It's going to take a lot of time to fix for not just your name, your brand, and every other thing associated with you. Thank you.
Yo, thank you so much. That's so good, so good. Thank you. Yeah, the long-term picture, thinking long-term. Hustlers would take it, right? Hustlers don't care about reputation, so they're going to take it. Thank you, Jane. So group two, do you have a spokesperson or anybody that has been assigned in that group? You can just speak up. We don't have time, please. Okay, Precious, let's go. Let's have you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
For group two, it's the ethical scenario: a potential investor who wants to invest in a business but have concerns about the reputation and values of the business. I think one way to handle this is, first off, to understand the investor's concern, because if you're dealing with I heard you say communication is not only what you say, is the response of another person. So you have to understand this investor's concern. What are areas that the investor has concern about in our values or reputation? And the next thing should be assessing these core values, to be able to bridge the gap. It could be a little bit of misunderstanding of how they perceive the values, and you could bridge the gap, assess the values, and then bridge the gap. Another way is to for a business, you must be transparent, right? You must have proper documentation. If you are a business who is actually serious when it comes to thriving, right? So you must have documentation. You must be transparent in order to show these investors that you are actually capable and you are open to their investments. And one more thing is actually to acknowledge limitations, because we know that no business is perfect and there might be loopholes in businesses. So, and for investors, they are ones that are, should I use the word, they are much more experienced when it comes to the field of business. So if they actually identify loopholes, it is right, it is actually sensible that you acknowledge the limitations, and further dialogue should be presented in order to, not to break that investment. It should be presented in a way that, okay, we could discuss this further. I could give you feedback and all of that communication. So I think that should be it.
Yeah, I think you guys may have missed it up because the values is on the part of the investor and not on your part. So a potential investor wants to invest in your business, right? But you have concerns about their own reputation, but that's fine. So you also want to check for the reputation of the investors, because that they have money to give. What if they are trying to launder money through your startup, right? So you want to check that too. And some investors, launder money for some agencies, also for some politicians or individuals, right? So you want to also check that their own, because I mean, it's what I normally say with when you're hiring or when a potential employee or a job seeker is going to, get a job, right? You're also interviewing the recruiter, right? So it's a two-way thing. So as the investor is interviewing you, you're also interviewing the investor, and this is super important. You want to ensure that. Yeah, but no problem. That's okay. Okay, number 3, group 3. Do you have your spokesperson or anybody who is assigned to that group can speak? Let's go.
Okay, great to speaking.
Yeah. All right, Grace. Let's have you.
Yeah, good. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So we're able to discuss my team. Your company is facing financial difficulties, and you're tempted to cut corners on quality and or safety standards to save costs. We discussed and agreed that we would not be cutting corners on quality, because we believe that our brand ought to be a brand that has integrity. And then no matter how much, no matter, we would rather go to the route of safety standards to save costs and not just cutting corners on quality. Because when we tend to tamper with the value of our products, on the long run, we're going to lose out on customers. And I've also come to believe that for every product, there's always a target market. For instance, people that produce this tiny toothpaste you see in hotel rooms. For me, I can't be their customer, their target market. But then there are hotels and reservations, guest house that they have like the target market. So um, the route of safety standard to save costs is better off than cutting corners on quality, because on the long run, when you compare with the integrity or the value of your product, you will lose out and even fail out of the industry. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. So, and this is very important, right? Thank you, Jane. Grace, that's so good. Thank you, everyone. It's very important, because if you don't do this and, you get into that space, at the end of the day, you make money on the short term, but you lose on the long term. So, business is a long-term game, not hustle. Well done, guys. So, we're already out of time. Apologies. I hope you guys had fun or you learned one or two things. Let's just wrap this up, right? Upholding corporate business ethics is crucial for building a successful and sustainable entrepreneurial venture. That's 1. 2, developing strong soft skills communication, flexibility, time management, all of these things are very important. All right. And then embracing ethical principles, like we've seen. If you want to build something long term, it's very important, to think long term. All right. And like I mentioned earlier, don't say I'm a hustler, right? Don't, get into that zone of hustling, right? Hustling is short term. Entrepreneurs are not hustlers. You've got to think strategically about the future, long-term perspective about what you're building or the problem you want to solve. All right. So do not use those words on yourself. I'm a hustler. Hustling doesn't care about ethics, about ethos, about principles, about putting systems in place. All right. That's hustling. What can I eat today? How can I survive today? But with entrepreneurship, it's about thriving. That mindset is very important. All right. So, and this is just very, very critical for us to do. Okay. Developing ethical models and practices can boost your revenue and profits. All right. So we've got further resources, Importance of Business Ethics by the Harvard Business Review. You can check it out on Google. 10 Essential Soft Skills for Entrepreneurs by Entrepreneur Magazine, a guide to effective business documentation, ethical entrepreneurship, all of that. You can check that out on Google, right? So what is a message for everyone? Don't wait until later to think about this. Start planning and having all these plans in check as you build your existing business or prepare to start a new one. Recall what I said when we started this conversation, right? Which is the fact that knowledge is not power, behavior is power. What you know will not change you. It is what you do. So you've gone through this course, you've gone through other courses by other facilitators, but it's what you do with what you've learned, right? What you do with what you've learned. Remember, I said that the difference between a successful entrepreneur and other entrepreneurs is execution, not necessarily information. Information is almost everywhere, right? So it's what you do. So focus more on doing. There's more to learn when you do and fail than when you don't do and you just keep getting in knowledge. All right. So go and do something with what you've learned in this course. And I wish you guys all the best. All right. So well done on making it through this far. And if you've got questions, I'd love to take them quickly before I pop out. So we've got like other services at Found Her City. You can accelerate your ideas with one-on-one personalized mentorship. There's a lot of soft skill development trainings. I mean, we did a lot of brushing through. So you want to get deep dive into communication, into emotional intelligence, into, time management, negotiation. It's a skill, you need to have it, right? So you can also sign up for that. And then we've got like structured business programs for student entrepreneurs and recent graduates. Now, if you've got any questions, I would love to take them. If you've got any questions, I'll take them quickly. Any questions, and thank you, Found Her City. Catching me is not always easy. I must say that, right? At times, I'm also very, very, how do I say it now? I also feel sorry for myself, right? Because my schedule is always very, very incredibly packed. So please ask your questions now. You may not catch me to ask me in this avenue again. So ask your questions, no stupid questions, just ask if you've got any questions. And if there are no questions, anything that jumped at you, anybody can share. All right, so Amarachi, let's go for it. Let's go for it.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
For starters, for founders that are building, finance is very important.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you handle especially relatives or friends who always come to you to ask you for like money when you know that you're building and you need all these finances to even push your business forward, but like you keep having all these people in your DM?
Fantastic. This is such a very, this is such a very good question. We call it black tax, right? And black tax is something that is going to exist forever. It's not stopping anytime soon. The thing with family, friends, relative, with needs, financial needs, it's never ending. You solve this one, another one pops out. And so you must place priority on what really matters. So learn how to say no. What I want to say it with finesse, with steeze, with composure, with empathy, that's up to you. But you must learn how to say no. I always like to give this analogy, right? If someone came to you for 10,000 naira, right? Urgent 10K. And then you said to that person, I don't have it. I'm working on a project, I don't have it right now. And the person gets upset. What is wrong with Amarachi? She's so stingy, nonsense, rubbish, and then calls your name and everything. And then 7 months later, you then chat up that person and say, oh, send me your account details. And the person sends the account details. Or let's even say you had the account details before, and then you send 1 million naira, 1 million. You know that all that courses and all that, it ends there already. They see you as the God and Savior of their life. So that tells you that you must prioritize on the things that really matter. Very important. Because if you don't do that, needs and bills and expenses are always going to be there. If you are pressed and you want to use the restroom, what I'm saying right now is not important. In fact, what I'm saying right now will be useless to you because you need to use the restroom. All right? And I always say that hunger does not respect passion. Do you get that? So when there is hunger, you throw away passion and do what needs to be done. So learn to say no. I think that should be a course for Found Her City, the art and the act of saying no. A lot of people struggle with that, and they've gotten themselves into very terrible, terrible places, terrible situation. Right? If you say no, guess what? That person is not going to die, except if it's a life-threatening situation. That person will still be alive. That person will move on to another person. And when you're ready to help that person, right, the person is able to receive that help. So just learn to say no. And that's very important. I hope that helps, Amarachi. All right. Any more questions? Am I free to go?
I think someone asked a question in the chat.
Oh, let me check it out. Okay, I'll just check it out. What if the hustle word is attached to business name? This is so good. Oh my God, who is Jane? If I catch you, don't let me catch you in this Lagos. If I catch you, okay, I'm not in Lagos right now, but if I catch you, okay, what if the word is attached? So there's this thing that Google does, feel your hustle. I think there's hustle VC, right? There are different brands that have hustle to it. So so that is you just speaking to the realities of that market, right? So, you can't be emotional with your business name and say, oh, no, okay, think about it this way, right? Imagine saying, oh, I'm a Christian, right? You're a Christian or you're a Muslim, and then there are some words that are forbidden, and then the name of the company is that word, so the word is secular. It doesn't have any, moral or spiritual value in that sense. But it is the business name. It should not be morally attached to it, right? So in this case, a student hustle. Now you know what the hustle is about. I don't know what it is, but you are not hustling in that sense. Okay, I get it. So, but it can be quite controversial because at the end of the day, some people will hustle, and that's okay. Yeah, that's okay, really. Some people will still hustle, and that's fine, really. But what I'm saying is, in this room, it must not be you, right? And that's why some people will say, oh, in this life, I just want to have money and be okay. Some people will say, oh, no, I just don't want to have money. I want to create a system to replicate wealth. So if you want to be ordinary, that's okay. It's fine. If you want to be extraordinary, it's also available. There is a Steve Jobs, right? And then there is somebody in Balogun market that I just want to sell, make money, eat, and that's all I want from life. And that's very important. Now, when you look at even relocation, people relocate and say, oh, we have lights. People don't have light. Hey, yeah, sorry. That's all the end game of their own relocation. Have light, enjoy a good road, have a good system, make money, and oppress Nigerians back home. That's all. Why some people, they are coming over to take over the land. I mean, look at, if you follow the UK politics, Kemi Badenoch, right, has emerged as the leader for her own party. That's a Nigerian. That's a Nigerian. So I'm not saying that hustle, nobody should use hustle. I mean, right, the reason why we are solving, the reason why wisdom exists is because there are foolish people. So we need foolish people so that wisdom can have value, right? If everybody is wise, everybody will become a business owner now. So that means who is going to sell to who, right? So it's fine if you are even selling to those that they believe in hustle, all right? But what you are doing should not be hustle. Even if it's student hustle, what you're building should be a company that can outlive you, right? That you would proud your kids, to come and inherit, and that's fine, really. So it's about the mindset, not about name. You can even say, I'm building a conglomerate. If you like, say that you can be building a hustle. So by your behavior, we know what you are building, not by what you call your company. And that's why if you go to all these places like Alaba International Market, Balogun Market, you go to like Ladipo, you see the names, they are very funny names. Chibuzo Global Enterprise Limited, and it's just one small cubicle. How are they Global Enterprise Limited? The word global means that you have transcended beyond not your country, your continent. That's global. You're serving customers in Europe, in Asia, in Antarctica, in Australia. That's global. But everybody say, I'm global limited. How are you global? So it's not about the name, right? It's about the behavior and the culture that drives, what you're doing. I hope that clarity is understood. Am I clear enough, Jane? Okay, great. I see you. All right. I don't know if I'm able to take more questions. So I need to hop into another call. I think it was great talking with you guys. Thank you, Olumide, for inviting me and your team. Thank you, Founders City. I want you guys to, stay put, right? Hold on to this, guys. Okay, Precious, you're raising your hand. Do you have a quick question? I could just take it before I run off. Okay, maybe that was a mistake. Okay, so hold on to Founders City, stay with them, stick with them. They have got a lot of resources that's going to help you. We took more time, but I know that, it was valuable time for us, right? And then go back to do. Now, if you want to follow up later, you can just tweet at me. I'm very more active on Twitter. Tweet at me, and let's just do something, and it will be very great that we do it. It's my own request to everyone. Make a post on LinkedIn, just tag me, tag Founders City, share what you've learned. What say?
Your link, your social, can you drop it in the chat?
Okay, my socials, I'm just gonna do that. So it's Victor Onyekere, right? Just like Victor Onyekere.
Okay, yeah, okay. So his name is the same across.
Yeah,
on
across.
social.
Just search for Victor Onyekere. I'm gonna pop up somebody that looks like this. What you're seeing is going to pop up, right? So just push it out, especially on LinkedIn. Just share what you've learned, tag Founders City, and then tag me to the post. And I will try as much as possible to, drop a comment too as well. I hope everyone will do that. Please just do that, Of course, it's a way to position you. Let me also talk about that. Positioning is very key. position yourself. Someone can, when they see that, they see you as someone who is given to learning. You're improving yourself. Oh, this is where you started your journey, and they can trace all of that. And someone can see you that, since you're given to learning, maybe I should even, follow up on this person's journey and see that when they are ready, I can invest in them. You can also plug in, if you're building something, plug in what you're building. Oh, I attended this wonderful masterclass, where we talked about this, or talked about that. I'm currently building this. It's going to help me do XYZ, and I'm looking forward to this and that. Or if you're interested in learning about what we're building, you can send me a DM. You see that now? You can just tell about what you're building, and then you position yourself as someone who is given to learning, and then someone's also building something. All right. So that's one way to, set yourself apart. I always say this: if you attend any class, tweet about it, put it on LinkedIn, and talk about it. All right. So thank you, everyone, and please enjoy the rest of your weekend. All right.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's grateful to have you. Thank you so much. And